Hello everyone, welcome to the good, the bad, the TNA Impact for Impact Wrestling, November 10th, 2011. And I'm going to go off and say, to start off, this is a go-home show for their next pay-per-view Turning Point. And honestly, they did some good things and roughly some bad things for the show building up into the pay-per-view. I'll go ahead and start off with the good things and then I'll go into the bad things at a later time because the bad things led more towards the main event spots going into the pay-per-view. Good thing, essentially, they did do some good build-up towards storylines. They had another little build-up with Inc. and Mexican America. They had a nice little backstage brawl in there. It did what it was supposed to do. It built a little bit more of the story going into the pay-per-view, giving it at least a little bit more meaning. Also, it was a good thing and a good build into the story to keep Gail Kim on a roll that she was already in, going into her pay-per-view match with Velvet Sky. So, those two, at least those two, and there was at least one more good in there as well, that it did a good thing for the pay-per-view and building their stories in there. The other thing that was really good was the extra build-up that they put in there for the Christopher Daniels and RVD match. It was pretty plain and simple, and it was very little what they did, but it was effective and it brought out and it actually worked. You had AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels that night. Towards the end of the match, Christopher Daniels was pulling out the screwdriver, and and RVD came out and interrupted that, and essentially leading into Christopher Daniels losing that match. Like I said, it was short. It was something very small, but it was effective in getting that storyline and continuing it into the pay-per-view. Now that I'm done essentially with the good stuff, and I try to get to my points as quickly as possible so the videos don't take too long. I'll go into some bad points. You have Matt Morgan versus Crimson at the pay-per-view. They essentially, the only thing building storyline towards that was what they had shown from weeks past. Crimson had a match with Pope D'Angelo Dinero, but it had no Samoa Joe in there. It had no Matt Morgan in there at all, which are the people that he's mainly feuding with right now. So really, the match did nothing for his storyline going into the pay-per-view. Honestly, I know I went to a bad right there, but I'm also going to come back and do a good. I feel the match that was Mr. Anderson, Jeff Hardy, and a mystery partner versus Scott Steiner, Jeff Jarrett, and the other guy is slipping my mind right now. Oh yeah, Bully Ray. Sorry, Bully Ray slips my mind every now and again. I don't know why. Sorry for the pause there, but essentially the mystery opponent the mystery partner was Abyss. It was good to see him back in there. He's obviously going to be going off with Scott Steiner here, and the match itself led into the pay-per-view. Will lead into some good areas towards the pay-per-view and making those feuds a little bit more meaningful. Jeff Jarrett with Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray with Mr. Anderson. So it was an overall good match and overall good building for the storyline. All right, I'm going to essentially end this video with a bad, and I feel this was a bad move that they did with the whole James Storm Bobby Roode thing. Honestly, I don't know. At this point, it makes me wonder why they even put the title on James Storm to begin with. Because not only do they not do the rematch at the pay-per-view, they were supposed to do it that night, and then they do an injury angle, making it look like James Storm gets injured and can't actually compete. So what they do with the match, James Storm stumbles himself out there, I guess, he gets himself away from the doctors and Sting so he can get himself out there to try at the title. He lunges at Bobby Roode, collapses. Bobby Roode makes it look like he's going to pick him up, just rolls him up in a heel fashion. And that was a good heel fashion type move on his behalf there. And it kind of saved that little segment a little bit because it made him look more as a heel than anything else. And gets the pinfall that way. And this pretty much leads into Sting coming out there, and AJ Styles and Kazarian are out there, all the fortunes out there, and it leads to Sting making the match with Bobby Roode and AJ Styles for the pay-per-view for the title. Now, I honestly don't get this now because I understand he's going to be going with Fortune. He's going to be feeding with Fortune here for a little bit, but this is a little short in the understanding. I'm trying to put this in easier terms here, where I'm the casual wrestling fans terms, where why is AJ Styles now going to wrestle him? But James Storm should be feuding with him right now. And instead, they're going to hold this off like another month or so. I guess that's how they're going to do it. He's going to be injured. He's going to be out for like a month or so, maybe a few weeks. And then you might get one more match with James Storm and Bobby Roode. And honestly, that's what it would be, one more match with them, because doing this injury angle essentially throws that type of style in there where he's going to be out for a period of time. He's going to come back with a vengeance. He's going to have one more match with Bobby Roode to try to get revenge. And heck, it might not even be for the title. And pretty much, honestly, this title match is literally a throwaway for the pay-per-view. It will more than likely be the main event of the pay-per-view itself. And it's essentially a throwaway match because there's no way they're going to have AJ Styles go over on Bobby Roode this quickly. And if they do, I feel like it's a mistake, and it takes away the momentum from Bobby Roode that he's already built up over the at least week that he's had the title and done the heel turn. So honestly, I feel this was a bad move on their part. They should have made the title rematch on the pay-per-view, and it would have been good. They could have continued the feud on for months to go, or for at least another month after that, and then have AJ Styles go for the title or Kazarian go for the title, and do this whole deal where he's gonna take on Fortune one by one. But now they've essentially taken James Storm out and put AJ in for the main event of the title. Then that's essentially saying they never wanted to put the title on James Storm to begin with, but they did it anyway. And honestly, that's pretty much all I have for the Impact show. I'm gonna do a quick preview of the pay-per-view tomorrow, and I'll upload it to YouTube and then. And thank you for watching, whoever's gonna be watching this.